Welcome to the Step by Step podcast by Hidden Strength. We really hope you enjoy this episode.
Thank you so much for coming on this podcast.
That's all right.
I love you're happy to be here. We haven't even started. But to be honest, I think kind of getting the opportunity to learn a little bit about you, it would be such a disservice for me to introduce you because hello, and people will find this out listening and watching. But can you tell the world who you are?
I'm Tanya. I'm 22. I graduated from uni last year. I went to the Uni of Birmingham. It was interesting. It was good, but interesting. I did biomedical science with business, and now I'm exploring career paths and life choices. I like baking and I love singing. I think those are my top two things.
I love that. And it's almost being like, oh, my favourite colour is this. But that's the thing though. I always say, as someone in their 30s, and I make that sound like I'm a fossil, but I'm literally 31. But that's what your 20s are all about, trial and error on someone else's money. This podcast is usually split into one of two camps. It's either a lived experience where people want to pass on that knowledge and kind of share their stories step by step in a way to inspire others who maybe relate or in that same situation, or it's a way of coming full circle, giving back and being like, this was the first step to into experience here. You are definitely in that former camp, because for someone so young to have so many different experiences to the point where there is such a naivety around that, because God forbid someone so young could experience more than one kind of hardship or even any kind of struggle. And you have said before, and you say it on social media, that you're a mental health advocate. Where does that all come from? Was there a starting point that exposed you to the world of mental health, or was it just something that you had ingrained in you but you didn't realize what that was? Yeah, if you could tell me a bit more about where that began.
Yeah, so there was definitely a starting point. I've struggled with mental health since I was about maybe going through puberty, so like 12, 13. I started having like very low mood. I guess, teenagers do have like crazy hormones, so you do feel more angry, more sad, more extreme emotions. But I felt that I was having like extremely low lows. To the point where it wasn't normal, like it was constantly being sad. I didn't have any reason to be sad. I have an amazing family. I had great friends, a great life. I'm very lucky. So I was frustrated because I was just upset for no reason. I didn't know what to do about it. And then I think it was when I was about 20, so quite a few years later, I became very depressed. So yeah, I'd have those really low lows at school. And I also felt very tired. But it wasn't just tired, it was like exhausted to the point where I couldn't really do anything. I'd go to school, come back and just crash. I can't describe the feeling, but I just felt I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
And then, so when I was about 13, 14, I started growing facial hair on my face, obviously. And I knew this wasn't normal, obviously. As a woman, like, you don't usually grow hair. And I kind of researched it a little bit, thought I might have polycystic ovary syndrome. Didn't really do anything about it because I didn't know what to do about it, if that makes sense. And I was so young that I just thought, it's fine. Yeah. I wasn't very bothered by it. I didn't care that I had it, which is nice.
Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, I knew there was something off. And the more I researched it, the more I thought, I really fall under this like umbrella of polycystic ovary syndrome, the fatigue, the facial hair growth, the low mood, that all kind of falls into that. And then I started going to the GP and saying like I have these symptoms, and it took them a long time, quite a few years to diagnose me. I think I was 20, 19 or 20 when I was diagnosed.
Oh my gosh.
So it took a long time. And since then it's been just a lot of like GP appointments, figuring out what went wrong or what is wrong.
Yeah.
Putting me on different medications to try and fix it, but not actually fixing the root cause of the problem.
Yeah.
And that the main like difficulty for me was like depression and low mood. So I'd say I was around 15 when I had like depression. It became really bad. I had suicidal thoughts, and I thought that it was normal to have those thoughts when you were 15. I thought that my classmates had those thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Obviously not everyone did, because it shouldn't be normal. And when I was 20, so at uni, I was put on the contraceptive pill to regulate my periods. Yeah. or to have periods, because I didn't have any due to my
Yeah.
PCOS. And that gave me like proper clinical depression. That was the darkest time of my life. It was really hard. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot.
There is a lot, but also that is just one of the most accurate reflections of the state of women's health services, to the point where you could say there is an element of systemic violence there with how often women are neglected or gaslit, and the fact that, like you said, you have such an incredible family, a wonderful support system. Why would you be feeling sad? The natural thing to do would be to look inwards, and by looking inwards, that can go one of two ways. You're either starting to connect pieces and connecting the dots together, putting pieces of the puzzles together, or you fixate on a situation that can result in an increase in poor mental health, etc. I mean, incredible that at 13 you were like, this is me, this is fine, I'm okay with growing facial hair, like that's fine, it is what it is. But then also then to have that shift and then almost accept that as a reality, even though you saw nothing wrong with it, but to be like, well, that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to advocate for myself talking to GPs, because what are they going to do? And the fact it took 6 to 7 years for you to get an official diagnosis is wild. Although I don't know the most accurate stats, if that's kind of an accurate timeline, or how often it takes for someone to be diagnosed with PCOS.
It takes a few years, usually, even when you kind of know you have it.
Oh my gosh. So even from all your experiences, and I know we're going to get into them, that was kind of the catalyst for you, that yes, there was a hormonal shift, and it's not just puberty, because there can be other issues, rather than, oh, it's just puberty, because that is such a backhanded kind of excuse for a lot of young people growing up to kind of excuse behavior or belittle experiences. How were you navigating kind of those teenage years? Because going through that self-advocacy route, the fact that you came up with your own conclusions to be like, I fall under this umbrella of PCOS, but then navigating suicidal thoughts at 15. Can you talk to me a bit more about the mental health side of things in your teens?
I honestly don't know what I did or how I did it. I think when I was young, I just kind of, my mindset was a lot more negative than it is now. I think I kind of just accepted that I'm having these bad thoughts. And kind of like pitied myself. I was like, I just felt sorry for myself, basically, and would just be sad. And I don't think I kind of had the mental resilience, or I wasn't trying to build that resilience of getting better or feeling more positive. So I could have done that if I had some support, or I reached out. I think that could have done something. But I was a teenager, so I just thought, you know, it is what it is. But I remember, I think maybe 14, 15, I can't exactly remember. They said if I eat like healthy and exercise and stuff and do all of those things, obviously it'll make you feel better. So I tried to become a lot healthier. Like I was healthy and normal, but I just tried to be better. And like do fitness and stuff. And I don't know how much it helped. I'd say like it helped maybe a little bit, but I was still struggling a lot. And it was frustrating, because I was just thinking like, I'm doing all these things, but nothing's coming of it. I don't feel that much better. But I did stick to it, and I'm glad I did. I think it showed me now that like I can have that discipline and that resilience. And I think showing up for yourself is one of the main things you can do, like no matter how hard it is. Like I know how hard it is, but you have to try. And I think I've built that over like the past few years. And then when I was 20, and I had like proper depression, I just became really angry, because I was like, I don't know what to do. And at this point I had built that resilience. I was like, no, I'm going to get better. But it just felt like I was never going to get better at the time, but I knew that I'd have to, and I would somehow. And that's when I signed up to work with Young Minds, the mental health charity, because I thought I want to put this anger and stuff somewhere, and I thought that'd be a good way to do it.
Yeah, completely. But also to go back to kind of that diagnostic pathway of PCOS, and also you mentioned the pill, and the pill just pauses experiences, but then you get side effects added on top for good measure. Like it's not addressing the root cause. It's we're just going to put a pause on this, and then we'll deal with the consequences, and the consequences tend to be so much worse than the initial experience. Did you experience any of the notorious medical gaslighting when you were talking about your experiences with professionals?
So I was diagnosed after my ultrasound. So they found, so to diagnose PCOS, there is 3 criteria. You've got polycystic ovarian morphology, so like the actual cysts on your ovaries, hyperandrogenism, so that's usually shown in facial hair, or you just have higher levels of androgens. And then the other one's oligoanovulation, so you're not ovulating properly. You might not have many periods or none at all.
Yeah.
I had all 3. You don't have to have all 3 to be diagnosed. I think it's 2 of 3. And then there's 4 subtypes. So depending on which ones you have, you are classified into a subtype. So yes, I did experience a bit of medical gaslighting. I remember going into the endocrinologist's office after being diagnosed, and she was a woman. And she kind of like looked me up and down, and she was like, okay, well, you're not round, like you're not large basically. So you must have, I think you said type C, and that's when you only have hyperandrogenism. So like, because I had the facial hair. And I was like, no, like I have type A because I have all 3 criteria, which is the most severe phenotype.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, also the fact that she probably could see on the records, the type I had, because obviously, surely it had all been put in.
Well, yeah.
But maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, so she kind of just assumed that I had type C because I wasn't large, basically. But yeah.
And the notorious question that we always say in the mental health therapeutic space, how did that make you feel?
I think I kind of felt like I gave up a little bit at that point. Like, I'd been diagnosed, so I was excited to try and make it better. But then when I realised that there wasn't really many pathways to make it better, and then she's just kind of saying that, I don't know, I didn't feel great.
No, and it sounds like she put you into a box, and what we've learned and kind of through everyone's lived experience is that nobody's defined to one diagnosis, one label, one set of criteria, one experience, like one size fits no one. But did you have your diagnosis whilst at university?
I think it was before then.
So how did university kind of come into this? Were you able to use kind of everything you learned from school years, teenage years, to kind of equip you better to handle university?
So in first year, I'd say like my mood and everything was quite stable. I'd started metformin, which they usually give for diabetes, I believe, but they give it for PCOS sometimes because you might have high insulin resistance. So they just said, take it. I was like, okay, cool, I'll take it. So I did. I didn't really notice much change in like my mood or anything, but I felt quite stable.
Okay.
Because my mood's been up and down like for most of like my teenage years. But yeah, in first year and in sixth form, I'd say it was quite stable. And then in second year, that's when I started the contraceptive pill. It was the progesterone only one, which is notorious for making people depressed. And it did make me depressed. I started it because I wasn't having periods. I think I was having like none or maybe 1 a year. Obviously that's dangerous too. So yeah, I started that and then became really depressed. It was really difficult, I'm not gonna lie. I had been, low mood before and things like that, but I'd never really experienced this kind of darkness. I felt I couldn't really get out of bed. I was struggling to do anything.
Yeah.
I remember like I drag myself to the gym every day just to show myself that I have that, I don't know, self-love, discipline. But I remember coming back and just feeling like an absolute zombie, just nothing. Like I used to go to the gym to like feel the endorphins, feel better. I don't know, just live healthier and stuff. But I didn't feel better at all. Like I'd go, come back and then just crash into my bed. And I remember thinking like, I really want to get better. Like underneath everything, I was like, I'm fighting so hard, but I just couldn't show that I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I can't even remember how bad it was. Now, like I know your brain tends to do that thing where you forget the traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
And I have, which is good, but scary to think of how bad it was at the time. Yeah.
Totally.
Tangented, I forgot what I was answering.
No. But I mean, it's really interesting because yes, you feel more equipped to navigate university because you have this diagnosis now, which fills a gap that you didn't have whilst at school, which is great. But then also to add in the pill that literally is notorious for doing the opposite. It is just, we'll put a pause on experiences and symptoms, but then we'll deal with the consequences. And then to experience a level of darkness that you once experienced at 15, I know that you mentioned that was when you were considering suicidality. Were there any parallels there? Because as our brains do, that if something's traumatic, it goes, nope, you're not remembering it, I'm going to protect you, but it's still there. Is there a way that you can compare the two? I
think when I was 15, obviously it was my first time experiencing this like this level of darkness, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to do with it. I just let it pass. I don't even remember what I did. I just kind
Yeah.
of got through the days. But then this time I felt that it was worse, I think, in some way. But I feel like I had the experience to try and deal with it. And in the back of my head, I was like, I know I'm going to get through this. It just kind of felt impossible, but I knew I had to, because I was like, I don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
So I did feel like I can deal with it better, but it doesn't take away from how hard it was every day.
Totally.
Because it was more like me waiting for the time to pass so that I could get over it. But the time felt like it was taking a very long time.
Yeah.
And then I went to the GP at the point where it got really bad, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I went to him, and he took me straight off, because he was like, okay, no, well, you can't do this.
Love that.
And then put me on sertraline. Well, he obviously asked me, like, do you want to try this? And in the past, I hadn't tried antidepressants before second year, just because I have nothing against them. I think they're good, like, if you need them. But I tried to just do everything else I could before I was put on the medication to see if I could battle it. And at this point, I was like, I can't do anything more. So I was on sertraline for about a year, maybe. And I did need it, and I'm grateful that I took it at the time. But I just felt nothing. Like, I didn't feel sad, I didn't feel happy, I didn't feel anything. I think that's what I needed at the time, because I'd rather feel that than really depressed.
Yeah.
But that was around a year. So that was just just felt nothing.
Yeah.
For a year.
But is it because when people say they feel nothing, it kind of falls into two brackets? It's either I am feeling so much at once that my brain just shuts down, so we feel nothing, or was it more of that brain fog that clouded your ability to recognize emotions?
I think it might have been the fog, and also like the shock. I don't know how it scientifically works, but I feel like my body forgot what it feels like to feel normal.
Yeah.
So that took a while to come back. I could almost feel like the emotions underneath like a line, but I couldn't actually feel them, if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. But also, you clearly have that inbuilt internal resilience. Like, you want to try, you want to make it through. And if that's what we say sometimes to people, is if all you did was get through the day, that is the biggest achievement, and that's something that should be celebrated. And it's that you just need to get through the day. One day becomes three becomes seven's a week, then a fortnight, then a month. But how were you able to manage being a student with your own mental health? Were you able to pick up tips, tricks, resources? Was it just getting through when everything else was on a blinker?
It was getting through. At that point, I didn't care about my grades, to be honest.
Wow.
Like, even my parents said, just get through. It's fine. Don't worry about like doing well or whatever.
Yeah.
Just get through. So I did my work, but I wasn't putting any pressure on it, because I just wanted to get through the day. I'd go home basically every single weekend. Thursday if I could, if I didn't have uni on Friday.
Yeah.
Every weekend, just to be at home, because I was also in a uni house that did not help my case.
Oh.
So going home was good.
Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you're like, let's
yes,
go.
I can. So I guess, at uni, like, you kind of get thrown into housing.
Yep.
So in first year, there's this pressure to get a house, otherwise you're going to be, houseless.
Yeah.
So I met people obviously very quickly on in first year. They said, do you want to move in with like me and my friends? I was like, yeah, okay. So I met them for one night, I think, and then I was like, okay, I'll sign the house. I shouldn't have done that, looking back. I should have taken my time, but I'm learning from my experiences.
That's all we can do.
So it was a house of 7 of us. First of all, I pulled the short straw, so I was really unlucky with my room.
Oh.
It was like the size of the bed. I'm not exaggerating. I had to like suck in to like walk past the bed. It wasn't good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that wasn't helpful, but I could have dealt with that if I wasn't also depressed.
Yeah. Last thing you needed.
So they were just like very inconsiderate, a lot of them. Not all of them. I had one friend in the house, and like one good friend.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that she was there. Because when I was going through my depression, I'd just sit in her bed and cry like every night. But she was there, so that was nice. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Just inconsiderate housemates.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel comfortable to share. Obviously, you don't want to share everything with everyone.
God, no.
Obviously.
No.
But yeah, even if I said like, can we please keep the noise down like 11? It's quite a decent time just to say. And I have to wake up for uni and stuff. But they just wouldn't. So yeah, I can't describe that, but at the time it was really hard just because of everything else that I was going through.
Totally. And that's the thing. I mean, let's put it on record that it happens every single year. There's such a pressure. You have to have a housing arrangement set up or you're going to be homeless. You're going to be on the streets. That is utter trash. There is always a house. But when you're going through such a difficult time, it's the environment that you rely on the most. That is meant to be the most stable consistency, regardless of how you're feeling. So you had that at home, which was amazing. Like roll on Thursday, Friday, that you could go back to the place where you felt safe. But that's the bare minimum you would expect in a uni house too, is that you could go and just exist and just be. And thank goodness for your friend that you could. And also it sounds like there was space in her room for two of you to be in there, because
It was also quite small.
Oh,
A bit bigger than mine, but we both got the worst
Yeah.
rooms. But yeah.
But even like, okay, you had that respite with your friend's room that you could be like, okay, this, I feel safe here. I can cry. I can be emotional. I can be vulnerable. But it's just gutting that wasn't reciprocated in every other room in that house. And like you said, it's the last thing that you want.
Yeah.
So how did the rest of university go?
So that was first semester of second year, just awful. And then I think that was when I went off the pill and started searching just after that. So second semester of second year was good. I just remember me being really glad that I wasn't depressed anymore.
Yeah.
And just enjoyed like all the little things. I went out, I did like activities, I had fun. I did my studies, like I was happy.
Yeah.
Managed to somehow do like pretty well in like my course, which also made me feel good.
Totally.
Yeah, so that was the end of second year.
And at any point were you able to talk to university wellbeing services, and how was that?
Yeah, so I did. I felt that when I was struggling with depression, it was like difficult to gain the energy to do anything. I didn't want to do anything, but I knew I should try. So I signed up for like, they have quite a lot of support, but it was quite overwhelming because there's loads of different pathways, so I didn't know which one to choose.
Yeah.
But they do 5 free counselling sessions
Love that.
at uni, and I was really lucky. I got paired with like a great counsellor, and I'm really grateful for him. So we had 5 sessions. I felt that really helped. I wish I could have carried that on.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I'm grateful for that. But yeah, and I know there was more support, but I just didn't access it. I should have tried looking back. But
Yeah.
I just didn't have the energy.
No, but that's the thing. Hindsight's everyone's best friend and worst enemy. But to know that that was available, but also to recognize and sit with yourself and go, I've only got the resource to just explore one avenue. So second semester, you're feeling more like you again, being able to enjoy the little things, etc. Was that something then that carried through till graduation?
No. I entered third year, and I thought, I was quite scared because of second year. I was just thinking, please be a good year. It was a very difficult year. I quite quickly on, like maybe in the first 2 months, basically just got into like an emotionally abusive, situation. And that carried on for the whole of third year, basically. And I'd say like that was my second most difficult thing I've gone through so far, except depression. I can't describe that, but it was extremely difficult. And I think it was different to depression, obviously, because with depression, I felt like there was nothing to like fight against except the emotion itself, because it was internal.
Yeah.
But with this, like there was a reason, there was something happening. And it was difficult because I was like, well, why can't I just leave? Like, why am I still here? So it was 2 different things, but both really difficult.
And that situation, how did that change kind of yourself and your experiences, especially going into third year? You're like, I just want it to be better.
Yeah.
And then to fall into arguably a situation that was just as bad, if not worse. What was the impact of that on you?
I think for most of the year, because I was kind of clouded by everything, even like I was aware of what was happening. I was very aware of what was going on, which kind of, I don't know if that made it worse or better. I think I was trying to convince myself, okay, this is happening because of this. Like I'm very logical. So thinking logically helps me feel better.
Yeah.
Obviously none of that is logical. Like it's all just messy. But I think I kind of put it all on, I just washed out my brain. I was like, I didn't want to accept that this was, again, going to be a really difficult year.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself, the one thing that I can't let anything affect is my academics, because that year I was like, I need to
Lock in.
be on it. I need to lock in.
Lock in.
And I had learnt from mistakes in the past that I'd made, like my emotions clouding that and me not doing as well as I should have or could have. So I think because of that mindset, I managed somehow to separate all of that from working really hard, and I did. And I'm glad I did. I think it helped me work on something and not just like be there thinking about it all the time and just it was always there in my head, but like I had work to do, so I kind of managed to separate that for the whole year until then, obviously after, and then I had to deal with the emotions and stuff. But at the time I just decided to work hard and try and ignore everything that was happening. I don't really know how I did it, but I did.
Locked in, blinkers on,
Yeah.
almost detach yourself from the situation.
Yes.
And I think that's been something that has been a consistent theme throughout your experiences so far. You've had that purpose, that whether it's a goal, I'll go to the gym because I just want to see I still have that self-discipline. Now it's university and being like, I just need to make sure I have my academics. But then you just said about kind of deal with the emotions afterwards. Can you talk a bit more about what those emotions were?
So I think, so during it, obviously, it was really, really difficult, but I'm very lucky. I have amazing friends.
Yeah.
They listen to me, same thing, day in, day out.
Icons.
We
love them.
Really like lucky. I don't think I could have done that without them, to be honest. And then I think it was, so second semester, obviously like final year, final semester, lots of stuff. So that was a distraction. And then it was, I think graduation was July. So we finished it at the end of June. And then the summer started, and that's when I like had the time to realize everything that had happened to me. It was really hard. I'm not gonna lie. I think obviously it was summer, so I was excited, and I went to Fiji, which was incredible.
Yeah.
But it was all happening very shortly after that. So I was feeling the emotion. I was just crying a lot, basically.
Yeah.
I was trying to feel it because I knew I'd have to feel it at some point. Then was a good time because I didn't want it to hit like me getting a job or me doing something and then having to deal with that as well.
Yeah.
So I just decided, okay, I'm going to cry. I'm going to be angry. And I was angry. I was so angry. And I remember one day in summer, I was just so angry. Like, I know people say healing isn't linear and stuff, which is very true. Like, one day I felt absolutely fine. The next day I just crashed out. One night I was so angry just because of everything. And the next morning I woke up, sat on my laptop and just started applying to a bunch of stuff. So I guess my coping mechanism is just working. But yeah, I let myself feel the emotions because you have to.
Yeah.
No matter how difficult they are. I think the things I've been through have been really, really difficult, but people have been through even worse. And I think the one thing is to just, you have to deal with your emotions at some point.
Yeah.
You have to feel them no matter how hard it is. Because otherwise you'll let it roll into like your later life and you don't want that.
Yeah, literally that. If it's unaddressed traumas or kind of unprocessed incidences, situations, that absolutely can store. And then you could see it in coping behaviours or mechanisms as you get older. But it's feel your feels, because if you don't, and then and normalize crash outs, I say, because sometimes a good crash out is definitely needed, and that is therapeutically approved. But how do you pick yourself up from those really difficult situations, especially going through an emotionally abusive situationship? Like, was that one of your earlier experiences of potential relationships?
That was my only experience of relationships. So that was another factor to me being angry. Thinking, why, like, I've waited so long, why is this what I get?
Yeah.
It took some time to not be angry. Like, I felt sorry for myself. I was like, why is this the first whatever, like, relationship or whatever? But I've accepted it. It's part of my experience, and like, I'm proud that I managed to get through it.
Yeah.
And I said at the time it was difficult. I was like, I don't feel like I'm the same person as I was at the start. At the time, it was like a sad change. I felt kind of broken. I felt not like myself. Now I agree, I'm not the same person I was, but for all the best reasons. Like, I've had to deal with that, had to go through that. I've changed, but now I just feel like 15 times stronger. So not a bad thing.
No, not at all. It's It's every situation we go through, we learn something.
Yeah.
And it is that gradual progression until, whether it is in a relationship, that you work out exactly what you're looking for or what's your type or what gives you the ick. Like, it's only progressive and it's only a positive thing, because even if you've responded negatively to a situation, you would never want to put yourself back in that situation. So what are your go-to kind of tips, tricks, resources? How do you get through? Do you have your own little toolbox of things that you know you can rely on to help you out in those situations?
I think the one thing that has like kept me strong throughout all of these horrible things is like my self-love and discipline, and know that discipline in like, I'm not disciplined in daily life. I'm not that organized. I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, but I mean discipline in terms of like myself and staying strong in that. Like, I'm very confident in myself, and I know that I can do it. And a lot of it is just, I guess, mind stuff. Just like, I remember when I was depressed, I would look in the mirror every morning, like crying, and be like, "You've got this. You're gonna be okay."
But that's so good, though. I say this to people all the time. Look at yourself directly in the mirror. The first time you do it, maybe the first 3 times, you hate it. You're like, I feel like I'm going to be sick. But then it's incredible, that transformation. And even you started that sobbing, being like, "You've got this, queen." Like,
when I was younger, I used to think like, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Like, because my
Scam.
sister is very much like self-love, like all of that stuff. And she told me like, do this, it will help. And I thought like, no, like, ew. But I tried it and I was like, oh wait, this is helping.
Yeah.
So I think that is the number one thing. You have to do things that prove to yourself of how worthy you are, if that makes sense. Like me doing things and like doing work and doing things I love and putting time into myself.
Yeah.
It kind of proves that I love myself. if that makes
Absolutely.
sense. So that helps. Also, I talk a lot. Not sure if you can tell.
Come on.
And I'm very lucky. I have really great friends that I could speak to.
Yeah.
And my coping mechanism is talking. So I
Yeah.
would talk and talk and talk and talk. And I think it helped, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think if you have someone, even just one person that you really trust, tell them, talk to them.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people shut down. A lot of my friends do it as a coping mechanism, but it won't help.
No.
And the people who love you obviously want you to reach out, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I'd want my friends to come and tell me. I'd be there for them, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And then also, I guess, checking what support your university or school or wherever you are does have. I know that the counselling sessions I had really did make me feel better. Even if it was just for like 15 minutes after, I did feel like lighter, having a professional tell me like, this is okay.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to do. Like, and also I think taking time to figure out what works for you, because for me, I don't really counselling in terms of like someone's just listening, but I think that's because I have my friends to spill to. But I prefer like therapy when people are saying, okay, right, you feel like this, that's fine, but do this.
Yeah.
Because then it makes me feel like, okay, my brain is like, right, if I do that, I might feel better.
Yeah.
So it's like a little goal.
Totally. It's a solution-focused outlook. It's like, okay, this is the situation. And that's the thing, friends can be the most incredible sounding board. And some therapists can be that sounding board too.
Yes.
If you're like, I've got nothing really to talk about, I'm just going to vent to you about my situation. Cool. We can hold that baggage. We can take it from you, make you feel lighter. It's our absolute pleasure. But then actually having someone recognize it and have that active and reflective listening to go like, I hear you and this is what you're saying and I understand it, but how can we move forward with that, is so progressive. And it's actually the greenest of green flags. It's only a good thing. And to recognize that through your own lived experiences and that trial and error to work out what works for you rather than it being handed to you almost gives you that ultimate level of reassurance, because you're backing yourself because you know what works for you.
Yeah.
But has it always been a case that you've had incredibly supportive people around you that you can say, like, I've had a multitude of awful experiences and they hear it? Or have you ever had experiences where people have doubted that because, God forbid, you go through something so young?
I haven't experienced like older people telling me that I'm too young to go through this, but I think it's because I've chosen the people to not speak to.
Yeah.
I have come and found the people who care and want to hear about it. And also maybe I've ignored it because I don't care. Like I know what I've been through, and you know, it's not to pity me, it's more to help other people who might be going through something similar to know that they will be fine.
Yeah.
They just have to fight.
Totally.
And it's hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah, completely. And this is exactly what this podcast can be here for. People will be listening or watching, and there will definitely be points in what you've said that they go, I see myself in your story. And that is why we need to keep talking, because it's the only way that we can connect those bridges and allow people to feel less isolated and part of that community. Because that's all we want as humans, to just be part of something. We don't actually want to be isolated. It's just a coping mechanism. But talk to me, and if you feel comfortable doing so, about one of your dearest friends.
Yeah, so one of my best friends, she was diagnosed with a brain tumour in 2021. So we were in sixth form. And she was fighting for like the past 5 years. And she recently passed away about just over a week ago. So that's, the next thing.
Firstly, I'm so sorry.
Right.
And the fact that you've come on this podcast in such a short amount of time to go, I'm going to keep talking, but also I'm going to remember her as well, because she definitely would have wanted me on here yapping away and
she would have.
having it. Yeah, absolutely. She'd be like, come on, I'll subscribe. Talk to me about that experience and kind of losing someone. Also, what's her name? Let's actually name her.
She's called Sneha.
Snail. What a name. Yeah, grief is so fresh, but losing someone so young, has that changed anything already for you in terms of like outlook, perspective?
I think I haven't taken my own advice and let myself feel the feelings.
Yeah.
I have just been working like day to night. I haven't given myself any like second to even think about it, which isn't good, but I will.
Yeah.
But I think of her, and she was the most honest person, sometimes too honest.
Yeah.
She would have wanted everyone to live our life to the fullest. She inspired me a lot in many ways. Like if I was ever like sad or something really small had gone wrong, and I'd speak to her and she'd say like, Tanya, like, what are you doing? Like, just
girl.
She helps me see just the light in everything. She was very motivated, intelligent. I know you say all these things, but she really, really was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't processed it, but yeah, I just think about her and think what she would have wanted, and that's for me to be doing these things. And she always wanted me to. She'd always encourage me to do all these things. And yeah, I just think there isn't anyone quite like her, and there never will be. But I think of that when I'm doing these things. I know that she would have wanted me to.
Yeah. She sounds like someone that just loved life.
Yeah.
And literally, I know we say live, laugh, love is such a like cliche, but from even just how you're talking about her and how your eyes lit up, and like even your own posture to be like, yes, let's talk about this person who I love dearly. That says it all. And just what a privilege to be able to not only share so many experiences, but to actually know someone that just radiates everything that a lot of people aspire to be.
Yeah, she was so strong, extremely strong. Like she was going through all of that, and I just have absolutely no idea how that feels. And she just every single day was fighting, positive, thinking about what she's gonna do next, and that's just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Icon. Absolute icon. So talk to me a bit about the work that you're doing now. You mentioned Young Minds.
Yes.
How are we taking all of these experiences and the power of lived experience and channeling it into the mental health space?
I think for anyone who was struggling, any of that, do something that you like.
Yeah.
Put it into something. That has helped me so much. Signing up to Young Minds was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah.
I applied for the activist program. So they have, I think, 4 different programs, do different things.
Yeah.
Applied for that and I got in. It's a 3-year program.
Wow.
And we get to do like media opportunities, campaigning, just meeting up and doing things together as a cohort.
Yeah.
I think there's 40 of us, so there's loads.
Oh my gosh.
For example, I did some filming the other week for social media.
Yeah.
And we did it on the new Future Minds roadmap. So it's like an outline of different steps the government could take, I think, in the next 10 years. So we did that. So just, I think I talk, as an activist, we talk about our experiences like I'm doing now, to maybe help other people or just raise awareness of situations. And it helps me. And I think it also might help someone else. So yeah.
It's that your story can become someone else's survival guide, and that is a gift that we have to keep on giving and we have to keep on sharing. So obviously you said at the beginning, you're trialing things out at the moment, and like I said, and I'll say it again, that's what your 20s are for. What's the goal?
I have no idea. Absolutely no idea.
I love that.
I want to build a career that I enjoy, that I'm proud of, that I'm like motivated to work for. I'm not going to love it every day, I don't think.
Who does?
But just something that I can wake up and look forward to. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And I have a lot of different passions and skills, so I kind of trying to put them all together and figure out what I want to do.
So from what we're talking about, baking, singing, activism.
Yeah.
It's a very niche market. You could combine them all. Paul Hollywood could never. You know what I mean? So what would be, if you had your way, kind of no barriers, nothing stopping you, what would that dream career or just life or aspiration look like?
I'm not like 100% sure, but I think I kind of want to have like one main career thing that I do every day.
Yeah.
And then like side things. Because like you said, I don't know if I can combine like baking.
I hope you do.
Maybe I can.
Come on.
Yeah, like one main career. Don't know what it looks like. Like I'm interested in science.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd ever say this, but I'm kind of missing my degree a little bit. So I'm still interested in science. But I also like creativity and the arts. And so combining those two things together I think that's what it would look like. Creativity and then like science / analytical skills.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to combine. And do something that will make me feel good, but also put an impact on other people. Because that's what makes me feel better.
But totally though, but that's what we say purpose is. Purpose fills up your cup to the point there's overflow that you can use that excess and fill other people's cups up. Utterly incredible. And I always say this at the end of every episode. If someone is watching or listening right now and you want them to take away one thing from this episode, what do you want that to be?
Don't give up on yourself. It sounds really cliche, but you need to love yourself, but you need to do things that show yourself that you're worthy of that. So you need to act for yourself and love yourself. Don't let anyone or anything kind of take away that confidence. That's my one thing.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Any closing remarks?
No, just thank you for listening.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, regardless of everything that you've been through, you've still got that light and that joy, and the fact that you're still able to share that. Because if you were like, this isn't for me, I'm going to hide away and just sit in my fields, sit in that pit, no one would have batted an eyelid. They would have been like, yeah, it's not the healthiest, but it makes complete sense. So the fact that you're channeling all of this and turning it into something so positive, so progressive, that it's not just meeting your needs and making you feel happy, but others, is truly incredible.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching today.
If you feel like you need additional support after the podcast, we've linked resources below.
Please like, share, subscribe, whatever you're listening to us on today.
And download our Hidden Strength app.